Gurureva gatihi gurumeva bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na guroh paramam shishurasmi guror matirasti gurau mama pahi guru. So today we will be discussing some of the things that we are left with. So is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, Anna.
Okay. Okay. So we will be dealing with Vyakarana Vishesha, as well as just before that we will look into Nirdharana Shashti. So Nirdharana Shashti is on page number 24 of your books. I have taken screenshots of the same because there is nothing totally different that I found online or by any other source. So Nirdharana Shashti. As we all know, we have vibhaktis that take different usage. So each of the vibhaktis, Prathama, Dvitiya till Saptami or even Sambodhana, they have specific usages. They're not used everywhere. So based on where they are used, they are prominently brought into picture. But there are a few exceptions to these rules, and these are the exceptions that we will be looking into today's class. Firstly, it is Nirdharana Shashti, and second is the Vibhakti Viparyaya. So they are the consecutive lessons of your book, Anuvadapradeepa. So looking into Nirdharana Shashti, so what happens is, Nirdharana Shashti is a type of prayoga wherein you want to bring out the speciality of one particular thing in a group of things. So if you have a group of things and you want to specifically point out to a peculiarity or speciality or something good about one particular object in that group, then you use Nirdharana Shashti. So again, as they have given, based on Jati, Guna, Kriya. So Guna, that is the character. Jati, that is based on the classification. Kriya, based on the action. So if you want to try to bring out one particular unique aspect in a group, then the group gets either Shashti or Saptami. Nirdharana Shashti or Saptami, because both of them are valid, but mainly because Saptami is a common usage, Shashti is a very rarely used aspect, hence Nirdharana Shashti is your main concept. Additionally, or alternatively, Saptami is the common usage. So this is the usage of Nirdharana Shashti. ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಬೇರ್ಪಡಿಸಿ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಣ ಷಷ್ಠಿ ಉಪಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಪ್ರಾಣಿನಾಂ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಷುವ ಮಾನವಃ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಃ. ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್, every sentence gives you both ಷಷ್ಠಿ as well as saptami vibhakti usage. Now, ಪ್ರಾಣಿನಾಂ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಷು ವಾ ಮಾನವಃ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠಃ. Pranihi is the word. So kavina, kavibhyam, kavibhi. So Shashti Vibhakti Bahuvachanam is Praninam. Saptami Vibhakti Bahuvachanam is Pranishu. So what is the sentence trying to tell? Among pranis or among animals, Manava Shreshtaha. Human being is great. So you're trying to use a group. The general group you're discussing is the group of animals. In that you're specifically picking a particular example of human being and telling that among animals, man is the greatest. Or man is great. Since you are trying to segregate or you are trying to specify a particular guna of a particular aspect of a group, you use Shashti or Saptami. So the common usage is Pranishu va manava shreshtaha. So if you know in Kannada or any regional language, it's more easier to understand. Pranigalalli manushyanu shrestha. So again, Pranigalalli, alli is Saptami Vibhakti. So as I told you, Saptami is a common usage. But Shashti can also be used, and this type of Shashti Vibhakti usage is called Nirdharana Shashti Vibhakti usage. Again, second sentence gives you Gavam Goshuva Krishna Aniyatam. So Gavam, Gohu Gava Gava Go Shabda, in that Shashti Vibhakti Bahuvachanam is Gavam, Saptami Vibhakti Bahuvachanam is Goshu. So what are you telling? Among the cows, bring Aniyatam. So bring Krishna. So Krishna is a particular cow, and the sentence is telling you that among the group of cows, Krishna is a particular cow that has to be brought. So you're trying to select or pinpoint one particular cow among a group of cows. Hence, you have to use either Saptami Vibhakti or Shashti Vibhakti. Saptami is a common usage. ಹಸುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣೆಯನ್ನು ಕರೆದು ತರಲ್ಪಡಬೇಕು. That is a Kannada usage. But again, as I've told you, in Nirdharana Shashti it will become Gavam Krishna Aniyata. So in all these sentences, you have to use both. Shashti and Saptami are used to show that either of them can be used. Saptami is common, Shashti is a particular usage. Gachatam, gachatsu va, dhavan, shighram upasarpati. So gachatam, again gachatam is Shatru Pratyaya. Gachan, gachanto, gachantah. Shashti Vibhakti Bahuvachanam will be gachatam. Saptami Vibhakti Bahuvachanam will be gachatsu. So among the people who are going, or among the people who are, gachan, ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿರುವವರಲ್ಲಿ, ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿರುವವರಲ್ಲಿ ಧಾವನ್ ಶೀಘ್ರಂ ಉಪಸರ್ಪತಿ. ಸೊ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿರುವವರಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡುತ್ತಿರುವವನು ಬೇಗ ಸೇರುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಶೀಘ್ರಂ ಉಪಸರ್ಪತಿ, ಬೇಗ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿರುವವರಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡುತ್ತಿರುವವನು ಶೀಘ್ರವಾಗಿ ಸೇರುತ್ತಾನೆ. That is the meaning of this sentence. Shashti is gachatam, Saptami is gachatsu. So among the people who are going, the person who is running will reach early or will move early. Again, dhavan is also a Shatru Pratyaya, because again, if you see the English sentence, among people who are going, present continuous tense, the person who is running, present continuous again. Hence, in both the places for Kach dhatu as well as Dhav dhatu, you have Shatru Pratyaya usage. In the first way, in a group of people who are going, you have to use Shashti or Saptami Vibhakti, and among that you're picking up a person who is running. So you're trying to separate or exactly mention a particular person in a group. Hence, Nirdharana Shashti. The last example is Chhatranam Chhatreshu va Chaitraha Buddhiman. Chhatranam, Chhatraha is similar to Ramaha. Ramasya Ramayoho Ramanam, Rame Ramayoho Rameshu. So Shashti Vibhakti Bahuvachanam, Saptami Vibhakti Bahuvachanam. So among the students, Chaitraha, Chaitra is a particular boy. So Chaitraha Buddhiman. So among the students, Chaitra is Buddhiman, he's intelligent. So this is Nirdharana Shashti, a very simple concept, only to tell that it's not always that you should use Saptami Vibhakti only for such comparisons. You can use Shashti, and that particular Shashti Vibhakti usage is given a particular name called Nirdharana Shashti, as the name suggests, Nirdharana, deciding. So you're deciding that among a particular group of people, objects, or whatever, you are deciding that one particular stands out due to either a jati, guna, or kriya vishesha. So that is why it's called Nirdharana Shashti. Any doubts in Nirdharana Shashti? It's a very simple concept. So if you have any doubts, we can. If you don't have any doubts, we can go ahead.
Is there a way you can give 3-4 lines of this describing in Sanskrit, since we had to write in Sanskrit in the exam?
Okay.
Is there a way we can?
Okay. So you can write it as Yada Ganeshu Ekam Vastum उत्तमतया एकं वस्तुं जातिविषये, गुणविषये, क्रियाविषये वा विशेषतया सूचयितुम् इच्छन्ति, तदा गणस्य सप्तमी विभक्ति सामान्यतया भवति. So the meaning of the sentence is, whenever you want to specifically describe a particular object in a group, the group usually gets saptami vibhakti. So ganeshu ekam vastum yada visheshataya सूचयते तदा गणस्य सप्तमी विभक्ति सामान्यतया भवति. परं सप्तमी विभक्ति स्थाने षष्ठी विभक्त्याः अपि प्रयोगं भवितुं शक्यते. तादृश षष्ठी विभक्ति उपयोगः निर्धारण षष्ठी इति नाम्ना सूचयते. गणस्य यदा षष्ठी विभक्तिः गणस्य यदा षष्ठी विभक्तिः उपयोगं भवति तदा तत् वाक्यं निर्धारण षष्ठी प्रयोगे भवति. उदाहरणं सामान्यतया प्राणिषु मानवः श्रेष्ठः इति उपयुज्यते, परं निर्धारण षष्ठी प्रयोगेन प्राणिनां मानवः श्रेष्ठः इत्यपि उपयोगं कर्तुं शक्यते.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So any doubts, any other doubts in Nirdharana Shashti? Okay. So Vibhakti Viparyaya. Again, the previous one was not actually a Viparyaya. So Viparyaya means a total change, or to be give you the exact literal translation, it is deformation. So deforming of Vibhakti is called Vibhakti Viparyaya. Common ways, special cases. So as we have seen in one of the previous classes, we studied a concept called Karaka. So Karaka Prakaranam explains how each of the vibhaktis have to be used. So we had different names. Prathama was called Kartrakaraka, then you have Karma, Karana, Sampradana, Apadana, Sambodhana, Adhikarana. You have 7 names for Karakas, but Sambandha, that is a Shashti Vibhakti, was not a specific Karaka, it was just a Sambandha. So these were the Karakas, and we studied how each of them will be used. And you already know when will you use Prathama Vibhakti. Prathama Vibhakti, you know, among the lessons that we have read in Karmani Prayoga, it is Kartra. Sorry, Kartari Prayoga, it is Kartra. There's a slight mistake in the slide. So in Kartra Pada, it is the Kartri Pada will be in Prathama Vibhakti in Kartari Prayoga. Karma Pada will be in Prathama Vibhakti in Karmani Prayoga. Similarly, Dvitiya Vibhakti, Karma Pada will be in Dvitiya Vibhakti in Kartari Prayoga. Tritiya Vibhakti, the Kartripada will be in the Tritiya Vibhakti for Karmani Prayoga. So these are the 3 main Vibhaktis that you saw during Prayoga Parivartanam. Other than that, Chaturthi, we have specific usages. For example, Gurave Dadami. So I will give it to the Guru. So Guru Vige. So first one is U, which is usually the way to tell, it's called nominative. So you nominate a name. So for example, Ramaha Gacchati. So if you're just using a Kartripada in Kartari Prayoga, you use Prathama. For example, Dvitya, the other usage is Hannannu Tinuttene, Phalam Khadami, Annu. Dvitya Vibhakti. Tritiya Vibhakti. Ramaninda Kelasavu Madalpaduttade. Ramena Karyam Kriyate. So again, the Inda is Tritiya Vibhakti. Chaturthi Vibhakti. Guruvige Koduttene. Gurave Dadami. Chaturthi Vibhakti. Deseinda, the usual way for using Panchami is when you're showing a separation. So for example, Vrikshat Phalam Patati. So Maradinda, Marada Deseinda. So the usual way of translating is Maradinda Hannu Biduttade. But the particular Panchami Vibhakti usage will be Marada Deseinda Hannu Biduttade. So Vrikshat Phalam Patati. Shashti Vibhakti is a Sambandha, so you don't have to worry about a Karaka. So Ramana Manege Hoguttene. Ramasya Griham Gacchami. Saptami is Ali. So Udyanadalli Makkalu Aduttare, Udyane Balakaha Kridanti. So these are the common usages that you have for each of the Vibhaktis. But what we will see in Vibhakti Viparyaya section is sometimes Vibhaktis come in places that they are not supposed to come. But grammar in Sanskrit is very well defined. So even you have, for these special cases, you have particular sutras and rules which will tell you that though Sanskrit is highly specific, there will always be exceptions, but even those exceptions have been clearly mentioned through the means of Panini Sutras or any other grammatical sutras, so that even those exceptions are clearly understood without any ambiguity. So we will look into those Viparyayas in the consecutive slides. So Prathama Vibhakti, you don't have a lot of, you don't have any deviations at all, because Prathama Vibhakti usage is nearly fixed. It does not undergo any deformation under any situation. So the main things we'll be seeing is from Dvitiya till Saptami Vibhakti, the various changes that happen for each Vibhakti. So Dvitiya Vibhakti. So the first change occurs when you have dhatus like duh, yach, etc. And there is a shloka given. The shloka will give you all the different types of dhatus which will affect this type of rule. So first we'll read the rule and then we will go into the shloka. So what it tells is, whenever you have dhatus like duh, yach, that is yachate, pach, pachati, dand, dandayati, rud, rodati, prich, prichati, chi, chinoti, bru, braviti, shasu, shasati, ji, jayate, math, mathyate, all these. So these types of dhatus, when they occur, what are the main qualities of these dhatus? They show actions. So duh, that is to milk. So you have an action there. Yach, to ask. So you have such very very well-defined actions. So these action-defining dhatus, whenever they come in a sentence, then the karma, that is the object that is being described in the sentence, we will affect the Kartripada. So in those cases, Dvitiya Vibhakti will come. For example, we will take the second example, which is very easy to understand. Dhanikam dhanam yachate. The meaning of the sentence that they want to convey is actually Dhanikaninda dhanavannu keluttane. That is, money is asked, the rich man is asked for the money. So if you see the Kannada sentence, Dhanikaninda dhanavannu keluttane. Yachate. Someone is asking. Saha dhanikena saha yachate. Let us take, someone is asking. So if you see the Kannada word Dhanikaninda, it should actually be Tritiya Vibhakti. Dhanikena dhanam yachate. But because yach is a dhatu mentioned in the shloka, it undergoes Vibhakti Viparyaya, and hence instead of dhanikena, as you see in Kannada, it will become dhanikam. So the kartripada, which is the karma pada, is actually the part which is being affected by the kriya pada. So the kriya pada has these particular set of dhatus, duhu, yaj, pach, all these dhatus, which affect the karma pada. What that karma pada's effect does is it changes the vibhakti of the kartripada. Hence, instead of dhanikena dhanam yachate, which is like a more grammatically correct based on how we translate it to other languages, because of this yach dhatu's occurrence, dhanikam will be the new deformed state of the sentence. Since dhanikam dhanam yachate, dhanikaninda dhanavannu keluttane. The next example also is a very good way to explain. Tandulan odanam pachate. So the exact meaning is tandula is grains. So with the grains, rice is being cooked. Rice cooks. So rice cooks with the grains. So with is always, again, Tritiya Vibhakti. So it should actually have been Tandulaihi Odanam Pachate if you want to use the grammatically, like the translational grammatic way. But since Pach is an exception, Tandula will be affected and it will get Dvitiya Vibhakti as Tandulan. Again, Gam Payah Dogdhi. So ಹಸುವಿನಿಂದ ಹಾಲನ್ನು ಹಸುವಿನಿಂದ ಹಾಲು ಕರೆಯುತ್ತಾನೆ or ಕರೆಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. But here, again, Tritiya will be replaced by Dvitiya Vibhakti and you'll get Gam Payah Dogdhi. And all the remaining, for example, even Aparadhinam Shatam Dandayati. So Aparadhige Nuru ಏಟುಗಳು or whatever ದಂಡಿಸಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ. Aparadhige should actually have been Chaturthi Vibhakti. But since Dand Dhatu is there, that Aparadhin will get Dvitiya Vibhakti as Aparadhinam. Again, for example, Manavakam Panthanam Prichhati. So Manavaka is a student, Panthanam Prichhati. So someone is asking a student the path. So it should actually have been Manavakanu. So the student is asking the path. So Manavakaha Panthanam Prichhati should actually have been the word. But since Prich is again one of those exceptions, Manavakam, you'll get a Dvitiya Vibhakti form. Similarly, Shishyam Dharmam Brute. So Shishyanige Dharmavannu Bodhisuttane or Shishyanige Dharmavannu Heduttane. That should have actually come Chaturthi Vibhakti. But since Bru Dhatu is also one of the exceptions, it will become Shishyam. Similarly, all those. If you see, Graham Bahati Kashtam. So it is telling that the wood or any, kashta is a wood piece. So wood bears the load of the house. So that is what is the last sentence that you see. Again, Graham, since that is the sentence that is a word that is taking the effect of this Vibhakti Viparyaya, it will again become Graham, which is Dvitiya Vibhakti in this case. So again, there are types of karma. So karma in these, so there are objects. So as I've told you, the Kriya Pada is affecting the Karma Pada, but this effect is also being translated as a Viparyaya to the Kartripada. Hence, based on the type of Karma Pada, they have again told you that the Karma Padas are of two types called Akathita Karma and Gauna Karma. And you don't have to worry, you just have to mention that there are two types of Karma Padas, Akathita Karma and Gaunaka Karma. And that should be enough. You don't have to explain what is the specific rule for Akathita Karma or Gauna Karma. Now, Dvitiya Vibhakti also has modifications when you have Kriya Vishesha. That is, if you are describing an action, that action defining word, as you call it as an adverb in English. So those adverbs also will also take Dvitiya Vibhakti. For example, Suvinayam Bhashate. He speaks, Suvinayam, with humility. So how is he speaking? He's speaking with humility. So you're describing his way of speaking, and the describing word will get Dvitiya Vibhakti, Suvinayam. Suvinayam Bhashate. Pachati, cooks. How does he cook? Shobhanam, very beautifully. So he cooks beautifully. So beautifully is the adverb. And in Sanskrit, whenever you're using an adverb, that will also get Dvitiya Vibhakti. Shobhanam Pachati, Savinayam Bhashate. The third rule, Adhishing Sthasam Karma. So again, always remember, if there is a particular sutra given, learn the sutra, because if asked for a particular type of Vibhakti Viparyaya, you will have to mention the sutras. So learn the sutras by heart and use it when asked in the exam. Now, what does this third rule tell? When you have these three dhatus, these three dhatus, Shing, Stha, As. So these three dhatus. So shing is shete, that is to sleep. Stha is tishtati, that is to stand. As is again to reside or stay. So these three dhatus, when they are accompanied by the upasarga adhi, then whatever is the word that is being related to this shing, stha or as dhatu, that will get dvitiya vibhakti. For example, vaikuntham adhishete. So adhi plus shing, adhishete means to lie on or to sleep thinking about something. So that is adhishete. Adhisyatam is again to reside or dwell. Adhitisthati, that is adhi plus tha dhatu. Adhitisthati also means to dwell. So whenever you have these adhitisthati, adhyaste or adhishete, the word that is showing you the relation to this adhishete or these kriya padas will get dvitiya vibhakti. So adhitisthati, he dwells. Where does he dwell? In the forest. So in the forest, that karma pada will get dvitiya vibhakti. So it would have actually sound better if grammatically correct with vane adhitisthati. In the forest he stays, he dwells. Saptami vibhakti. Vanadalli iruttane. But since adhi and you have stha dhatu, that particular vibhakti viparyaya will cause it to become vanam adhitisthati. Griham adhyaste. So the karma pada related to the adhi plus these three dhatus will come in dvitiya vibhakti.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
So are we saying it is wrong to use it in the other vibhakti, or are we
Yes.
saying it is also possible?
No. Vibhakti viparyaya itself means you have to let go of the originally thought grammatical rule and follow this rule. So you cannot write vane adhitisthati. You have to write it as vanam adhitisthati only.
Okay, and for this one and the previous one, can you please give a few sentences in Sanskrit so that we can write it down?
For these duh, yach, all these, is it?
The explanation in Sanskrit, please.
Okay. So usually the question will be Dvitiya vibhaktehe vibhakti viparyayan suchayata. So they'll ask you for they won't ask you one particular rule. They'll usually ask you to explain it for one or two vibhaktis as a whole. So that will be the question. So usually the question, I am not sure. Do you have a previous question paper that you can clarify this? Like, will they ask a particular vibhakti or is it a particular rule that they'll ask?
I'll quickly check. I have a couple of question papers. Let me quickly check.
Yeah. So by the time I'll finish the next rule, and we'll come back to how we can explain these vibhaktis. Okay. Okay. So the next one is upanmadhyang vasaha. So this rule is only for the vas dhatu. So the previous rules you saw three different types of dhatus. So the fourth rule is only concentrate on vas dhatu, but that vas, if it has these three upasargas, these four upasargas, upa, anu, adhi, ang. So when vas dhatu comes along with these upasargas, then the corresponding word related to this kriya pada will be in dvitiya vibhakti. For example, upa plus vas is upavasati, anuvasati, adhivasati, avasati. So these are the four different words that you'll have to worry about. Whenever you come across these four words in any lakara, any purusha, any vachana, then the corresponding karma pada should also be in dvitiya vibhakti. For example, again, upavasati, anuvasati, adhivasati, avasat. So all these mean to reside or to have a habitat in or to dwell. So all these three kriya padas mean the same even though the upasargas have changed. So in these cases, the upasarga is not changing the meaning at all. It is just continuing to follow the same meaning as the original dhatu, that is vas dhatu. So again, if you translate it literally into Kannada or English, vanam upavasati, vanadalli iruttane. Vanadalli iruttane is the sentence. But if you try to translate, you will try to bring in saptami vibhakti. But since upa plus vas has come, vanam, it should be in dvitiya vibhakti ekavachanam. Or any dvitiya vibhakti should be the vachana vibhakti for the karma pada. Nagaram adhyuvasa. Again, adhyuvasa, that is again adhi plus vas dhatu. Even though it should have been in nagaradalli iruttane, it will become nagaram adhyuvasa. Chitrakutam avasat. Again, Chitrakutadalli iruttane should have been, but Chitrakutam avasat because of this vibhakti viparyaya. Yeah, if you have got the questions, please, if you can tell me what are the, like, if you can tell me one question that you have.
द्वितीया विभक्तिः कदा भवति सोदाहरणं विवृणुत.
Yeah. So again, Vidya, so as I've told you, so it will usually be, they'll ask you the entire Vibhakti. And as I've told you, always, I'm not, it's not a universal rule, but usually the Vibhaktis that they will ask will be the ones that have more number of exceptions. So, for example, if you see, when Vibhakti has only one or two, for example, Tritiya Vibhakti has only three of them. Chaturthi also has probably, yeah, Chaturthi has more. Shashti will have very less. So in these cases, what they usually don't ask, because they want to, they know that the rule itself is the sentence. So you can't, modify the rule too much. So they will usually ask you vibhaktis which have more exceptions and more examples. So you can concentrate on those, but of course be prepared for anything, because they may ask you two smaller ones rather than one big one. So for example, okay, we will complete these seven rules, and then we will assimilate this entire thing in Sanskrit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the fourth rule is what we saw about vasthatu. Next is kaladhvanoratyanta samyoge. So if you want to tell an action that is being constantly done with time, that is, there is a very close correlation between time and the work being done. For example, I have been studying continuously for the past 1 week for the exam. So you're continuously, so you're not giving any gap, you're not taking any rest, and you're continuously reading. So it shows that there is a constant correlation or correspondence between time and the work. In those cases, the time dependent factor will get a dvitiya vibhakti. For example, as given masam adhite. So you have been continuously learning every day for a month. So the time dependent word, that is masa is nothing but month, so that will get dvitiya vibhakti. It is not always time, it can also be any measurement. So any measurement, if it is happening continuously and there is a permanent relation, that measuring parameter will get the dvitiya vibhakti. For example, krosham kutila nadi. So this means that there is a nadi, a river, and it is bending at every krosha. So as I've given, one krosha is four kroshas is one yojana. So one yojana is 8 to 9 miles, and 4 kroshas make one yojana. So you're measuring the river. Why are you measuring the river? Because the river has a peculiarity that it bends or it curves at every krosha. So for every 1 krosha distance, the river bends. So you're telling that this river bends at every, let us, for just this example, we'll take 1 krosha to be 1 kilometer, just for understanding. So you're telling that the river bends at every kilometer. So in order to tell this in Sanskrit, that 1 kilometer, every 1 kilometer, every month, every day of the month, every day of every hour of the day. So this every hour, all these permanent time units will get dvitiya vibhakti. For example, in this case, Krosham Kutila Nadi. So Kutila Nadi, curved river. But what type of curved river? The river is curving at every krosha. So Krosham Kutila Nadi. For example, Varsham Varsham Pathami. If you tell Varsham Pathami, it means that you are reading every day of every month of the complete year. So Varsham Pathami. That is the common usage. So Varsha, you're showing that for the entire year you have been studying. So that time or the measuring parameter will get dvitiya vibhakti. The next this thing is, again, this is a very common, very well known Vibhakti Viparyaya. Antara antarena abhitah paritah samaya nikasha hadik yoga dvitiya is the Panini Sutra. But here they have explained it in a sentence. So whenever you have these avyayas, so these avyayas, that is antara, antarena, abhitah, paritah, ubhayatah, dik, samaya, nikasha. These avyayas, whenever it comes, then the word that is correlated with these, those will get dvitiya vibhakti. For example, antarena, antarena, that is means along with. Paritaha is surrounded. Abhitaha is on the side. Ubhayataha is on both sides. Dhik is to tell alas in Sanskrit, in English. Samaya is closeness. Nikasha also means close to. So whenever you have these words, the word that comes along with this avyaya is in dvitiya vibhakti. For example, around the garden there are trees. So as you know, around is paritaha. So if you can translate exactly into Kannada, it will be Udyanada suttalu maragalive. Udyanada, it will become Shashti Vibhakti. So you will think that Udyanasya paritaha vrikshaha santi is probably what we will try to get, but it is wrong. Since you have paritaha, the word that is related to parita, that is Udyanam paritaha, Udyanada suttalu. So Udyanam paritaha vrikshaha santi. Grahasya ubhayataha shalaha santi. So on both sides of the house there are schools. Graham ubhayataha shalaha santi. So whenever you come across these avyayas, antara, antarena, abhitaha, paritaha, ubhayataha, dik, samaya, nikasha, all these, then the corresponding word that is relating to these avyayas will be in Dvitiya Vibhakti. For example, samaya, Hanuman Lankam Samaya Kinchit Kalam Tishtati. So Hanuman stands for sometimes close to Lanka. So just giving an example, after having crossed the ocean, before entering very close to Lanka, he waited for some time, if you want to tell. So again, if you want to use Samipe, there is no use. Lankayah Samipe. For Samipe, you have to use Shashti Vibhakti. Lankayah Samipe. But if you want to use Samaya or Nikasha, so Hanuman Lankam Nikasha Kinchit Kalam Tishtati. Hanuman Lankayah Samipe Kinchit Kalam Tishtati. So for Samipe it was in Shashti Vibhakti, for Nikasha it was in Dvitiya Vibhakti because of this particular Vibhakti Viparyaya usage. Next, now you always have some avyayas which resemble upasargas. For example, prati, as is now given in the sentence, prati, all these avyayas when you use in a sentence, so they should resemble upasargas. Then the corresponding word will again be in Dvitiya Vibhakti. For example, aham gurave dadami. I give to the guru. Nanu guruvige koduttene. Aham gurave dadami. That's correct. But if you want to tell, I give this to the guru, the other way of telling is aham gurum prati dadami. So again, aham graham gacchami, aham graham prati. So there's another rule for gach dhatu. Again, there's another rule that whenever you have gach dhatu, the particular word should be Dvitiya Vibhakti. So it won't be aham grihaya gacchami will never be used. Aham graham gacchami is a usage. Aham graham prati gacchami. For example, if I have to tell aham aham shishyam nivedayami, I tell it to the shishya. Aham shishyaya nivedayami. That is, I tell to the shishya. Aham shishyam prati nivedayami. So you have to understand. It was shishyaya when you just had the verb, but when you add that prati type of avyaya into the sentence, that karma pada will become Dvitiya Vibhakti. Aham gurave phalam dadami. Aham gurum prati phalam dadami. Chaturthi and Dvitiya Vibhakti. For example, in the given, upadishyati shishyam prati. So the kartra is not mentioned here. So guruhu shishyam prati upadishyati. So if you remove the prati, it will become guruhu shishyaya upadishyati. Shishyanige upadesha maduttane. Guruhu shishyanige upadesha maduttane. But when you add that prati, the shishya will move from chaturthi vibhakti to the Dvitiya Vibhakti. So guruhu shishyam prati upadishyati. Bhakta Vishnum Pari. They have not completed the sentence. They have just told that when you use the word called Pari, then Vishnave. Bhakta Vishnave Prarthayati or whatever. Bhakta Vishnum Pari Prarthayati. So when you add avyayas which resemble upasargas, then the karma pada related to that avyaya will be in Dvitiya Vibhakti only. Okay, so now we will try to assimilate what we read about Dvitiya Vibhakti's Vibhakti Viparyaya in Sanskrit. So it will probably be like this. So Dvitiya Vibhakti Samanyataya Kartari Prayoge Karmapadasya Vibhakti Bhavati. That is, usually Dvitiya Vibhakti is used in the Karma Pada of Kartari Prayoga. That is the sentence. So Kartari Prayoge, Dvitiya Vibhakti कर्मपद द्वितीया विभक्तिः कर्तरि प्रयोगे कर्मपदं सूचयितुम् उपयुज्यते. द्वितीया विभक्तिः कर्तरि प्रयोगे कर्मपदं सूचयितुम् उपयुज्यते. परं कानिचन परं tatrapi kanisna viparyayaha bhavanti. So among those there can be some exceptions. So tatrapi kanisna viparyayaha bhavanti. tat atra likhitam asti. Prathamatah yada दुह याच पच दंड रुधि इत्यादि धातवः, read that shloka also if possible, इत्यादयः धातवः भवन्ति तदा तत्पूरकं कर्मपदं तत्पूरकं कर्तृपदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ भवति। यदा फर्स्ट रेड नंबर 1, यदा दुह याच पच दंड इत्यादयः धातवः भवन्ति तदा तत् संबंधी कर्तृपदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ भवति। उदाहरणं धनिकं धनं याचते, अत्र धनिकम् इति पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ अस्ति यतः याच इति धातुः अत्र वर्तते। यदा याच धातुः भवति तदा विभक्ति विपर्ययानुसारेण तत्संबन्धं पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ भवेत्। द्वितीयं, यदा क्रियाविशेषः उपयुज्यते तदा क्रियाविशेषः द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव भवितव्यम् और भवेत्। Again, you have to try using tavya, taniyar and vidhiling lakara because these are rules. So you can't always, because it's better if you use vidhiling lakara because you're telling that this is a rule and you have to use it. So क्रियाविशेषः द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव भवितव्यम्, द्वितीया विभक्तौ भवेत्। And give the example. सविनयं भाषते, अत्र सविनयं क्रियाविशेषः भवति, भाषते अत्र सविनयं भाषते इति क्रियापदस्य क्रियाविशेषः इति वर्तते, अतः अत्र क्रियाविशेषः द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव अस्ति। अदिशिं स्थासां कर्म, अत्र अस्मिन् सूत्रे उक्तमस्ति यत् शीं स्था आस् धातु इति आस् धातवः यदा अधि इति उपसर्गेण सह आगच्छन्ति तदा तत् संबद्धं पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव भवति। उदाहरणं गृहम् अध्यास्ते, वनम् अधितिष्ठति, अत्र अधि स्था धातोः अधि प्लस् स्था धातुः वर्तते, अतः तत्संबद्धं वन इति पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ वनम् इति अत्र उपयुज्यते। उपान्वद्भ्यां वसः, अत्र सूत्रे उक्तमस्ति यत् यदा वस् धातुः उप अनु अधि आङ् इति उपसर्गेण सह उपयुज्यते तदा तत्संबद्धं कर्मपदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव भवेत्। अतः वनम् उपवसति, अत्र वस् धातुः उप इति उपसर्गेण सह अत्र आगतम् अस्ति, अतः वन इति पदमपि द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव विभक्ति विपर्यय सूत्रेण अत्र उपयुज्यते। कालाध्वनोरत्यन्तर संयोगे, अत्र सूत्रे एवम् उक्तमस्ति यदा कालस्य क्रियया सह संबन्धः सर्वदा वर्तते तदा कालसूचक पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव उपयुज्येत और प्रयुज्यितव्यम्। उदाहरणं मासम् अधीते, अत्र उक्तमस्ति सः बालकः, you can use instead of using just this particular sentence you can use सः मासम् अधीते, अत्र उक्तमस्ति सः मासपर्यन्तं पठति, अतः अत्र पठनं मासपर्यन्तं वर्तते, सर्वदा वर्तते, कालस्य सर्वदा वर्तते, अतः कालसूचकपदं मासं द्वितीया विभक्तौ मासम् इति उपयुज्यते, अतः मासम् अधीते इति विभक्ति विपर्ययः भवति। अंतरा अंतरेण अभितः परितः समया निकषाहादिक् इति अव्ययाः यदा वाक्ये उपयुज्यते तदा तत्संबद्धं पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव भवेत्। अतः लंकां निकषा, अत्र निकषा इति पदं उपयुज्यते, अतः तत्संबद्धं कर्मपदं क्रिया लंका द्वितीया विभक्तौ लंकाम् इति उपयुज्यते। यदा उपसर्ग समान अव्ययानि वाक्ये भवन्ति तदा अपि तत्संबद्धं पदं द्वितीया विभक्तौ एव भवति। उदाहरणम् उपदिशति शिष्यं प्रति, you can for some examples you can also tell सामान्यतया यदि सामान्यतया वाक्यम् एवं भवति शिष्याय उपदिशति इति, परं यदा प्रति इति अव्ययम् उपयुज्यते तदा वाक्यम् एवं विपर्ययः भवति उपदिशति शिष्यं प्रति। So this is how you'll probably have to rate. So you can rate it as numbers, explain it in 1 or 2 sentences, give example and explain the example. I've even in Chandas and in Alankara also have told you, first give the brief explanation about that particular Chandas, Alankara, or in this case, this Vibhakti Viparyaya, give the example and show that that example is valid for that particular rule. So for example, in the Samaya Nikasha, you have, once you give the example, tell that here we are using Nikasha, which is one of the words told in this rule. Since we are using this word, the corresponding karma pada will be in Dvitiya Vibhakti, and hence Lanka is in Dvitiya Vibhakti as Lankam. Hence Lankam Nikasha is the Vibhakti Viparyaya for Dvitiya Vibhakti. Any doubts or any other clarifications needed about this way to write it in Sanskrit?
No, thank you.
Yeah. So we will end it with Tritiya Vibhakti today, and we will carry forward with the remaining Vibhaktis in the next class. So because you have a class at 5:15. Okay. So we will look into Tritiya Vibhakti. Sahayukte Pradhane. So this is also a very commonly used sutra. The other way of telling is Saha Sakam Sardham Samam Yogacha Tritiya is the other way of other sutra that is similar to this. So what this rule tells is Saha, Sakam, Sardham, Samam. So these 4 avyayas, whenever you use, the word corresponding to these words is used in Tritiya. All of these, Saha, Sakam, Sardham, all these means along with. Samam is equivalent to. It can also be used sometimes as going along with. So along with, Saha, Sakam, Sardham, Samam, all these mean along with. So whenever you use these words, the person or the object that is going along with something, that will get the Tritiya Vibhakti. For example, let us first use a Kannada sentence. ಹುಡುಗನೊಂದಿಗೆ ತಂದೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಹುಡುಗನು ಹೋಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. ತಂದೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಹುಡುಗನು ಹೋಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. So if you want to translate it into Sanskrit, that ಹುಡುಗನ ತಂದೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ, that will get the saha. So who is he going along with? Tande. So that person who is the main source along with someone, along whom someone else is going. So ತಂದೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಹುಡುಗನು ಹೋಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. So the bare sentence is huduganu hoguttane, balakaha gacchati. But how does he go? Tandeyondige. So the tande will get the tritiya vibhakti. So pitra saha pita gacchati. Sorry, pitra saha putraha gacchati or pitra saha balakaha gacchati. Putrena saha agatah pita. So tandeyondige banda, sorry, maganondige banda tande. So tande banda agatah. Again, it is a third pratiya usage. So pita agatah. That is a bare sentence. The father came. But how did he come? He came with the son. So with the person that is attached to the with will get the tritiya vibhakti. So along with the son. So with the son will get the tritiya vibhakti. Bhartra sakam gata sita. So gandanondige sita horatalu. So sita horatalu. Sita gata is your bare sentence. But how did she go? Along with the husband. So along with who is she going along with? That particular word will get the tritiya vibhakti. So bharta is the word, bhartra is the tritiya vibhakti form. So bhartra sakam gata sita. That is the next rule. This is a very commonly used rule, and you come across this in most of your lessons and your exercises. Now, when you want to show a deformation, so if you have physically, if you want to show some organ that has been affected, then that affected organ is the source of tritiya vibhakti. For example, here yena anga vikaraha. So anga vikaraha, that is the deformation of the anga. That anga is called anga gets the tritiya vibhakti form. For example, kanaha is blind. But how will you tell it in Kannada? Kannininda kuruda. That is though it seems very colloquial, that is the literal translation. So kanaha is blind or kuruda. Akshna kanaha, kannininda kuruda. That is tritiya vibhakti will come to the organ causing the deformation. Padena khanjaha. Khanja is a person who is a person without a leg. That is khanja. How is he a person without a leg? Padena. So the organ that has caused the deformation will get the tritiya vibhakti. Hastena kunihi. Crippled by the arm. So kuni is a person who does not have an arm. So that is kunihi. But the deforming part of the organ or the part of the body is the hasta, that is the hand. That will get the tritiya vibhakti. Hastena kunihi. Now, the last rule probably is Hetau Tritiya. So whenever you have a cause, hetu, there is a cause, the cause will be in Tritiya Vibhakti. Vidyaya Sukham. So what is the source of happiness? Vidya. That source or the cause of happiness will be in Tritiya Vibhakti. Dharmena Moksha. So how will you get moksha? By dharma. So dharmena, Tritiya Vibhakti. Vinayena Matihi. By humility, you get knowledge. So vinayena Matihi. So the cause that is the source of the outcome, the cause will be in Tritiya Vibhakti. So again, if you want to write this in Tritiya Vibhakti, Vibhakti Viparyaya in Sanskrit, it will be Tritiya Vibhakti Samanyataya Karmani Prayoge Kartripadasya Sthane Upayujyate Param कानिचन सूत्राणि सन्ति यत्र तृतीया विभक्तेः विभक्ति विपर्ययः सूचयति ते अत्र लिखितं वर्तते। प्रथमतः सह युक्ते प्रधाने इति सूत्रानुसारेण सह साकं सार्धं समम् इति अव्ययानां प्रयोगे तत्सम्बद्धं पदं तृतीया विभक्तौ भवति। उदाहरणं पुत्रेण सह आगतः पिता। अत्र पिता आगतः इति वाक्यमस्ति। यतः पिता पुत्रेण सह इति अव्यय यतः अत्र सह इति अव्ययम् उपयुक्तम् अस्ति, तत्सम्बद्धं पदम् अर्थात् पुत्रः तृतीया विभक्तौ पुत्रेण सह इति अत्र वर्तते। अतः पुत्रेण सह आगतः पिता। अपि च येनाङ्गविकारः इति सूत्रानुसारेण येन अङ्गेन विकारः सूचयते तत् अङ्गं तृतीया विभक्तौ भवेत्। अक्ष्णाकाणः, काणः इति पदं नेत्रहीनः इति सूचयति। यतः काणः नेत्रेण विहीनः वर्तते तत् अङ्गं तृतीया विभक्तौ भवेत्। अतः अक्ष्णाकाणः इति उपयुज्यते। हेतौ तृतीया इति सूत्रानुसारेण फलस्य हेतुः, फलस्य कारणं किं, तत् कारणं तृतीया विभक्तौ एव भवेत्। अतः विद्यया सुखम, सुखम अत्र फलं, परं तत् फलं विद्यया एव लभते। अतः विद्यापदं तृतीया विभक्तौ विद्यया सुखम इति उपयुज्यते। So this will be the Tritiya Vibhakti. Any doubts in today's Vibhakti Viparyayas that we discussed? Okay. So if we don't have any doubts, we'll end today's class. We will take up Vibhakti Viparyayas, the remaining ones, in the next class. And probably with that, we'll have only Satya Saptami Prayogas. So please start finishing up your exercises for the completed lessons and ask any doubts if necessary, and we can clarify that. So if any other doubt, if there are no more doubts, we can probably end today's class. Okay. गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सह अस्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। राम राम राम।